All right, good morning and welcome back to our channel Princess Seat. Today is the 29th of August 2025, and it's a wonderful Friday morning, and we thank the Lord for everything. All right, without wasting much time, I want to treat a very important issue of a particular comrade that reached out to me on my DM, and it's actually pathetic and at the same time is educative. This is for the interest of everyone who cares to listen, because this could apply to you in case you don't take this seriously. It's very important that every one of us get abreasted, and if you have been one person who follows me back to back on this channel, you will discover that I have always in time given a straightforward lesson, a straightforward response to every details of questions that have been coming up at different times, and I've tried to provide justices to them. Now, this is what it says. Dear princesses, compliments of the day. I am one of your YouTube channel subscribers, and I follow you for the grant disbursement updates, bumper to bumper. Sir, God bless you and your family bountifully for the good works you are doing with your consistent updates. It helps us not to fall into depression while the back and forth lasted. Now, the real issue come up here. Thank you very much too. Sir, please kindly intervene and preach. I should preach to the senior management of this grant community to please do direct disbursement to all duly qualified grant subscribers. Our grant coordinator initially told us that we should expect 3 million each, and we are 100 persons under him. Conditions attached. We are to return 700,000 each for the payment of those that facilitated the grant for us, and we agreed. Just follow me. Our NIN numbers was collected as a security if we misbehave. We are to enjoy only 2,300,000 out of the 3 million. We also agreed. Please don't blame us. Country hard. All right, let's proceed. Just this last Sunday, 24th of August 2025, our coordinator told us that on the return of the IMF officials back to Nigeria last week, that the IMF officials have changed everything and that no more disbursement of 3 million. Not only that, it's only 20 persons out of the 100 persons in our team that will receive 200,000 each. That the remaining 80 persons would benefit from Korokwe Boss, Keke Marwa, grinding machine, sewing machine, etc., etc., as higher purchase. Higher purchase. Higher purchase, higher purchase. I nearly fainted. That when everything is ready, we will be asked to come with a guarantor or our guarantor over to their office and sign a memorandum of understanding with their lawyers. Between 2 to 3 days after the signing, we will be presented with the empowerment kits mentioned above. And there will be photographs and video and cameramen on ground to capture the empowerment ceremony. This is serious. Sir, is this proper? Using our names and other details to collect grants on our behalf, and now convert it to higher purchase business, and we will be struggling to repay them either daily, weekly, or monthly, as the case may be. Sir Princess, please kindly tell the senior management to do direct disbursement to all beneficiaries on our own. We can appreciate them. Let me know how you see this matter, sir. Finally, sir, please kindly treat the name of this writer confidential or anonymous. Yours sincerely. All right, so I think you just get that. The submission is quite funny, but at the same time, I think this could apply to certain people who have not really had the nerve to come out and say this. And when we talk about all of this extortion right on the platform, it appears like it's a child's play, but it's actually going on. The fund has not arrived, and we see all of this harshness. I beg your pardon. Now, from an exclusive, neutral, and well-analyzed perspective, this situation raises serious ethical, procedural, and legal concerns. And I'm going to break it down very, very carefully. I'm going to do justice to this. I don't know who you are. I don't know where you come from. But I think if I'm treating this case, it could apply to majority of other cases within the ecosystem. So please, and I'm going to be addressing this case under 4-point agenda. Very important. So I want everyone to listen keenly to this because it could be very informative to you. The first one here that I could see is the breach of initial agreement. The breach of initial agreement. Yes, the original arrangement was clear. In other words, we have 3 million per person for 100 qualified subscribers. Then we have 700,000 to be remitted back to the facilitators, and it was agreed upon voluntarily. Nobody put a gun to their heads. They voluntarily consented to return 700,000. And then the beneficiaries were entitled to receive 2.3 million net worth. Now, the new proposal changes everything, which is only 20 out of 100 persons will now be receiving 200,000 each, and the remaining 80 others will no longer get cash, but they are being forced into a higher purchase empowerment scheme of keke, sewing machines, grinding machines, and so on and so forth. Now, to me, this actually completely violates the initial consent and can be viewed as a unilateral alteration of the agreement. Beneficiaries never signed for empowerment kits. They signed up for direct grants. They did. So it is very wrong and a violation of their consent to divert that agreement into a unilateral alteration of an agreement right now for kits. Now, secondly, there is the ethical concerns here, that is using the beneficiary's name and details to secure IMF-linked funds, but you are now diverting them into another program without consent. This is ethically questionable. Now, if IMF or other funding bodies release funds for direct cash grants, you converting them into hire purchase schemes borders on misrepresentation. It largely does. Then making beneficiaries to look empowered publicly with their photographs and ceremonies while tying them to repayment obligations can also amount to you doing an image laundering for management. That is unethical. That is grossly unethical. Now, thirdly, I'm going somewhere, just follow me. Thirdly, we also have the case of a legal implication here. Because why? The NIN, the NIN numbers were collected as security in the original agreement. Now, if the arrangement changes, the continued use of these NINs for an altered purpose without fresh consent could also be a breach of data protection laws. Yes. And if funds that are meant for direct grants are being diverted to an empowerment loan scheme right now, it could open room for investigations by agencies like the EFCC or the ICPC if this matter is reported. And I think, in my own opinion, it should be reported. Further to that, if the IMF funds or the donor funds or international funds were tagged for non-repayment grants, but recipients right now are being converted to loan obligors, then that is a potential misappropriation use. Is a misappropriation use of funds, because the fund from the UAS is expected to empower as a grant and not as a loan scheme or a repayment scheme tied to some kits. This has a legal implication. Then, fourthly, there is the power imbalance here, because the beneficiaries are being presented with a fait accompli. You know what I mean by that is you accept higher purchase or you get nothing. This is coercive. In an ideal grant system, no beneficiary should be compelled into a repayment agreement that wasn't part of an initial framework or original framework. That's bad. Now, I want to provide a recommendation for beneficiaries. I'm not just talking to this person who reported this, but this, as I talk to one, I talk to all. This is general right now. For beneficiaries, I'm also going to talk to the management in this perspective. But for beneficiaries, it is only good or wise that you should document everything. In other words, keep all the voice notes, the messages, the signed forms, and any communication around the grant. Keep them. They're going to be valid for you. Seek clarifications in writing. That is to say, you have to politely request the revised terms in writing, including the amounts that the IMF or the UAS or the UAG is going to be paid if it is confirmed, how the funds were reallocated, whether beneficiaries are legally bound to the new structure or not. Then you have to, as a matter of fact, avoid signing any memorandum of understanding blindly. Do not sign hire purchase agreements until you understand the repayment terms. You got to confirm if you were originally entitled to a non-repayable grant or a power kit. Please, this matter should be reported. It has to be. Then for the senior management, I think transparency is key. You got to communicate clearly to your people if you're changing anything. If the funders are adjusting disbursement conditions, which there's nothing like that, there should be a provision of official documentation to avoid mistrust in the entire process. The management should allow beneficiaries the option to either accept hire purchase or opt out and wait for direct disbursement. Because I'm not seeing a headway here. That is completely wrong. That is a fallacy. It's a breach of agreement. They have reduced them, short-circuited them from 100 to 20. 20 are now to receive 200,000 instead of 3 million. Did you see how people are so wicked? They short-circuited the entire ecosystem there in that organ, in that particular wing, to 200 persons. To 200,000 for 20 people, and the rest are to now be paying them back. What an abuse! They will get them higher purchase services, kits, and then they have to be paying back. What a usage, what an abuse. So my take is that this is grossly improper as it stands. And this is signaling a fundamental deviation from the original agreement without proper beneficiaries' consent. If this scheme is actually modified and the release structure is modified, transparency should come with documented proof. Otherwise, this is just like a potential diversion strategy that is disguised as an empowerment. Not with the UAG is not saying this right now, but I'm talking about this body that is being reported right now by this personnel. He has just diverted the strategy into, he has just diverted the course into a disguised abuse, being called empowerment, but is an abuse. Now, if beneficiaries stay silent, I think this new model could be forced on everyone. I'm telling you the truth. And this will make everyone unwilling debtors instead of grant recipients. You would be a debtor in your own release of funds. I don't know whether you understand the submission. Please, let's continue this conversation in the comment section. Everyone that is interested in this case, you put your mouth, your submission right in this. This is grossly improper as it stands, and I don't subscribe to that. The case should be reported to the management, and if the management of the UAG is listening to me right now, I am putting a call across to the management of Sanctuary Wealth Multipurpose Foundation through the office of the Secretary, Simeon Idachaba, to address these concerns, because this could also be applicable to majority of other persons within this ecosystem. And if this is not treated, then we don't have a defined path towards this relief that is coming for the masses, because every one singular leader will find a way to extort the masses and also put them in stringent situations to not to get them a grant but a loan, which is grossly inappropriate. Well, currently nobody has had amount officially been announced of how much is going to be given currently, but at the same time, whatever it is, when the fund arrives, I think this particular slash doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. All right, my submission to this. Thank you very much. Just let's continue in the conversation in the comment section. Thank you very much. I wish you a nice day.